Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, day 2 of the Crosstown after yet another epic episode of the Crosstown at Wrigley Field for a takeover. That's back-to-back brilliant takeovers against the White Sox. Last year, it was the Madrigal homer to tie it, the Morel home run to win it. This year, down 5-0. The rain lets loose as if it's Game 7 of the World Series. Cody's the lowest I've ever seen him. Just dejected. And they come back and win it. They come back and win it with the long ball.
I was doing a lot of screaming in Section 423 last night.
You were. If you haven't seen where we were sitting for this game with the CHGO takeover with the sickos and the diehards, we were at the very top.
Yeah.
We had the last 3 rows of that section. So, bonus, we were covered for the rain.
We were, yeah. We didn't have to move. That was cool.
An extra bonus, as I tweeted, for the people, of the people, certainly with the people.
We were certainly with the people. Would you believe this if I told you that last night, as awesome as the comeback was, I can't think of another time where I've still left the ballpark angry.
Oh, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
You weren't. See, he's saying this because I left.
Yeah. Oh, yes. First off, I was a little annoyed that Luke just kind of Irish goodbye'd.
Yeah, and I asked Sean if that's okay to say because he is Irish. He said it was okay to use.
I'm also Irish. You're good.
I'm good with it. The Irish goodbye. Okay,
yeah.
just making sure today. I don't want to get canceled by all our Irish viewers and listeners.
Anyway,
I'm part Irish. It's okay.
I was obviously watching the comeback happen and then winning the game. Of course, I'm happy in the moment. And yes, overall, it was a great game to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm still feeling the same about this team right now, which is not good. So, and I really don't think they would have won last night if they weren't playing the White Sox, who had lost 11 in a row, now 12 in a row. And, it was just bad baseball. I feel better. I know I feel better today than I would have if they had lost the game. And
100%.
Going into that rain delay, I really felt like going into the rain delay probably was the lowest of the low. Like you thought you had already reached rock bottom, but we found a way to find a new rock bottom at one point in that game last night.
Would it have been worse to lose last year's game with the Morel walk-off or this game? Because last year's game that we went to for the takeover, they were playing well, but that was a miserable game. Like, the Cubs did nothing right in that game.
I mean, considering how the team was playing overall, I would have just been annoyed because it's like it's a team that you're supposed to beat. But that's kind of how I felt last night as well, but a little bit more just because the team hadn't been playing well overall. So it was like a mixture. So for half the game, they looked like complete and utter garbage.
Yeah.
And then the rain came, God cried some more, and
a lot.
Somehow, some way, the offense wakes up. Maybe we should thank Pedro Grifol for bringing Flexen back out there after a 45-minute break.
I thought it was an odd decision, but
right? I don't know. All I know is that the defense still stinks, and the offense is still inconsistent. The fact that it took 5 innings to even get anything off Chris Flexen, who had a 5.50 ERA or whatever. I know I'm nitpicking a little bit here, but I think all of us in the chat and anyone else watching would agree with me when when I say that I don't remember the last time the Cubs won a game where I just didn't, or where I wasn't just miserable for 9 innings, just stressed out of my mind and I was wanting an easy game. That's literally all I want. Tonight, I am praying that the Cubs win like 5-0, right? Like I just want an easy, like you're playing a team
low
that
stress.
you were, yes.
It should be low stress against the White
Right.
Sox.
It should be. Like, that's what I'm saying is like they should not be in close games with the White Sox. I know it's baseball, and I know everyone is going to win a game. Like, we watched it with the 2022 Cubs. That team was not good, and we watched them sweep the Mets that year that went on to win like 100 games, and all these random-ass teams that, you know, in late in the year when they didn't have anything to play for, and those teams did. We saw them do weird things, right? But with this team, the fact that they haven't been playing well for the last month, I'm still concerned. I need to see improvement, man. I need to see improvement. And there's a lot of discourse about Morel today.
Oh,
and,
yeah, for sure.
I don't know about the situation, man. It just brings me back to my issues with the front office and roster construction and roster management. So
I got a question about Morel. I'll ask you in a second. But obviously they came back and won the game because of something I've been saying they've been lacking
power
going into it. Power. They won because of the home run ball.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's what kind of scares me about this team. If they don't hit home runs, and really a lot of teams are kind of going through it right now in Major League Baseball, they're not winning. Hello to everybody in the live YouTube chat, by the way. Edward says, it's a sad state of baseball in Chicago when one team has lost 6 series in a row and the other team has a 12-game losing streak.
Hey,
He's purple crying.
Right. Hey, Kevin, can you show the people the new shirt for Shody and Monaga?
Of course I can. Yeah, I had it up in the lower third for a little bit. I'll give you
You
the
had
full
the
time.
Cody Bellinger one up, which we've had for a while, but the Shota shirt we dropped yesterday, we would have felt a lot better if Morel didn't have that air, because I think Shota would have looked a lot better. Outside of it giving up the home run, I thought he was good yesterday.
And I am glad they didn't bring him back out.
Yeah.
After the rain, I was like, okay, listen, if you're going to give him the 10 days off thing and cool the guy off, don't risk injury coming back against the White Sox in a rain game. So you're mad at me, or you're not mad at me because I left? Because here's my strategy. I went down 6th inning. Check that. 5-0 White Sox. Kevin Kaduk, our head of content, says we should be betting. You should probably bet on the Cubs to win this game. And I was like, okay. So I opened up my app, got on there, got plus 420 on the Cubs, down 5-0. I'm like, okay, did it. So then in the 6th inning, it's still 5-0. The Cubs haven't scored. I'm down looking for ice cream. I've gone all the way down to the lower level. We're at the top of the stadium. I'm all the way down in the main concourse. I go to 2 places. I went all the way from the right field corner all the way to the left field corner. Found 2 places selling ice cream. They were both out of order.
Just like McDonald's.
It's a sign.
McFlurry always.
It's a sign from the heavens. You're not supposed to be here. Then I hear Morel hit the home run, and I'm like, well, now wait a minute. If they come back, it would be fun to be here. If they lose, I don't want to be here for the walk of shame all the way back to my car. It was like way out on Southport. It's like, I don't want the walk of shame. And if they win, well, I'm gonna win some bucks on this wager. And then I heard the Storms might be in the area, so I got home before the game even ended. So I saw the tag play. Nico, what a terrible piece of base running that is. You're the tying run at second base and you get picked off. That's White Sox baseball.
Did you hear Steve Stone by chance?
No, he had to just be.
So I thought he had a pretty good take on it. I mean, rookie, obviously he's going to make mistakes. But Stoney said yesterday on the broadcast, he goes, "What are you doing dancing around? You're the game-tying run. If you're going to dance, go. Either go
it was
or
so
get
bad.
back." Like he was, if you saw the camera angle, I mean, he was hopping back and forth. He gave away his whole position. Everybody in that stadium knew he was trying to steal third on the next pitch, and he got great play by Hector Neris, great tag by Nico. Yeah,
didn't see it coming, but I mean, bad baseball teams find ways to lose the game, and boy, did they ever.
I mean, as much as I was annoyed about the game, you know, the Cubs. You still have to give the credit to the Cubs for you do getting out the big sticks and hitting the homer. Morel. Redemption, just like Seiya on Saturday against the Reds.
Dan's being happy. Two people that the chat and Cubs Twitter have been angry at all season long. Dansby kind of got it started, that double, and Hap.
Hap got
played
that
maybe his
double
best game of the year.
Yeah. So it's And then also the bullpen. If the bullpen doesn't pitch as well as it did, then they don't come back and win too. I mean, I know Wesneski gave up the absolute moonshot to Luis Robert, but other than that, like it was a solo shot, and you still had 2 more innings to do something. So the bullpen deserves a lot of credit too. Nearest now 2 consecutive saves. I'm not saying he's a closer, but he's getting it done right now. And
shaky as it is,
it is
getting done sometimes.
Yeah, but he's getting it done, and I don't know. When we talk about this team right now, it feels like closer is like the 5th or 6th problem on this team right now. Because
offense is still number 1.
Right. Because
it is like if they don't score the runs, they won't win.
Right. Because the offense has just been so inconsistent. That said, the offense has been better since like that really bad week when they were on the road at like Atlanta, and then I think going into St. Louis, it was dating back to like May 21st. But the only person that's right around the time that Happ started getting going, but no one else on the team was getting going, so it was hard to watch, but. I would say over the last week or so, the offense has started to get it going, but it's just not consistent, and they're not taking advantage of pitchers that they should be taking advantage of. And a guy like Chris Flexen last night was a good example. Now tonight, Eric Freddie's been pretty good for the White Sox, all things considered.
He's been one of their better pitchers. Right. He's been a good find. He's a guy that'll be traded here in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Right. So I mean. Like I said, they deserve credit for the comeback, but I'm still concerned about a lot of things, and
you should be too.
They haven't won 2 games in a row. How many weeks? I don't know. Like if they lose tonight, then last night's game just proves my point even more.
Because at that point you would say, well, they could have lost too. Right. The Morel thing. So going into it, I was starting to say, well, he's not that bad. I believe the numbers say he's the worst third baseman in baseball. Defensively.
By a lot.
His outs above average are like -10. His defensive run saves.
I mean, that one last night was just like, it was almost like he was disinterested in going after it. It was just kind of lackadaisical, I thought. And regardless of how it went down, it almost cost him the game. Sure. It was a huge error. It definitely impacted Imanaga. It led to a huge inning for them. So where are you with Morel? Because everybody still seems excited about everything you see, and then you look at it and you go, well, without his home run, they're not even there.
Well, he leads the team in home runs.
Leads the team in home runs, but he's still batting like what?
Yeah, but
211. But you have to have his bat in the lineup. So now you're saying DH.
He's also statistically the most unluckiest player in baseball.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
So in that. If you don't care about expected stats, the advanced stats or whatever, fine. I'm not going to tell you how to believe or fan or whatever. But it's the advanced stats say that his numbers should be better.
Right, offensively, not defensively. He hasn't been unlucky defensively.
As far I've said this many times on Twitter the last 2 weeks. You have to play Morel at third base if you want to play PCA or Michael Busch consistently. Unless the Cubs are going to play Michael Busch at third base some, which he has experience playing there. But he didn't play third base in the spring. I don't remember one game in the spring where he actually played some third base. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And I guess on day the only time that you would be able to easily do to DH Morel is on days that they face left-handed pitching, because they clearly have Busch set up as a platoon guy. They never have him facing lefties anymore, and they rarely put PCA in the lineup against lefties either. So that allows them to play Bodie at third base or Wisdom, but mostly they've been playing. But they have also been playing Wisdom at first base against lefties as well. So, but that opens up the possibility for Morel to play DH though against lefties. Against righties though, it's tough because PCA is here and he needs to play every day. I'm a little annoyed that he's not in there tonight, but whatever. But with him and Busch, if you want to play both of them in the same game, Morel has to play third base.
See, and I think that's what I was kind of leading to. Who's going to be the guy that's going to lose playing time? And in my eyes, it's starting to look more and more like it's Busch, because if you have to play an extra outfielder, now that outfielder might end up being your DH, but Morel you want to be your DH. Who's going to play third base? What if they call up Matt Shaw to try and get the offense started? Put him at third base. All right, now Morel has to DH. What if they call up Owen Casey? Where are you going to play Owen Casey? He's probably the DH. So now Morel's got to go back over to third. Can you let Bush be the guy over at first? Can you let Bush? How much longer can you? I don't think you can let the experiment continue with Morel over at third base. But how much longer can you let the experiment of everyday playing time or matchup playing time last for Bush this season? Not
Bush
that you
has
give
been
up
better of late.
but not that you can give up total hope on the guy. But if you want to try and get a big bat in there, Owen Casey potentially later in the season, how do you get him into the line? It's just something to watch as you start to go down. I don't know how that's going to happen, but you see the impact that, and not everybody loves him in the chat, I know that, but you can see with the right matchup, Patrick Wisdom can have an impact on a game too. His bat can.
Yeah.
And they seem more likely to play him at first base than they are to say, all right, we don't have a third baseman. Wisdom's not that bad, not as bad as Morel at third. If we want to get his bat in, let's play him at third base. But we haven't seen that yet either.
He's played some third, like one or a few
Very
games,
little, right? So is that
little,
the way to get Wisdom's bat in the lineup if you're trying to get more power, is to put him at third? You can't take Morel out.
Wisdom is. We know what Patrick
I
Wisdom
know it is,
Luke.
But
you say
is this season right now about development,
yes,
or is it about winning?
It's both. It's both.
But at some point, they're going to have to choose both. They can't just choose both,
Yeah,
right?
you're
or you're going to be
exactly
so
right. They gotta
mid forever.
choose
At
one.
some point, they're going to have to say, we have to make a push to the playoffs, and we'll continue the development thing for the most part next season.
You can't develop 3 new positions at the
you
major
can't
league level. They're developing
half
3
the team
positions.
can't be in development if you're trying to make the
Third
team.
base, catcher, and first base are all developmental positions right now. That's not going to work. I know the whole rest of the National League is struggling right now. I think there's like 4 teams above 500 right now. But the Cubs have enough talent on that team to be above 500. And right now, Morel, the experiment, in my opinion, I know it's not going to be over for them. This is how they operate. They give guys runway. But I think come down the stretch, if they have a hot June and they find themselves back in it, I think a move at third base is coming.
They're in the playoffs if they started today. They have the last wild card spot right now.
Right.
So they are in it. That's what I'm saying.
Sure, but if
they're in it by like a game.
But they're in it though. It's not like they're the Mets and have like 14 games under 500 or whatever it is.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
in a playoff game, you'd be comfortable with Morel at third?
No
way.
Of course not. I'm just saying.
Me either.
What Kevin just said though, he's like, if they have a hot stretch and they get back in it, but they are in it. Are they in it in the division right now? They're 6 games back, so no. But they are in the playoff picture right now as we speak.
So
To what you're saying, it's not that I disagree at all. I actually agree with you because I want to see Matt
I'm not
Shaw.
even saying I totally believe it. I just know that they're in kind of a strange situation coming up here for the next month.
It all points back to roster construction and roster management, like I said earlier. But the thing is Shaw's still in Double-A. Are they going to skip when they call him up? Are they going to skip Triple-A for him? They haven't done that for any other player. All right, Owen Casey, he's been okay in Triple-A this year. He's starting to heat up now. Great, but going into the year, we all felt like August at the earliest, and I still feel like August at the earliest, unless there's a major injury.
Could Mervis find a way to get playing time again at first base if he stays hot?
No.
You don't think Mervis will ever overtake Bush this season?
No.
I don't think he's anywhere close. No.
What?
I don't either, but I think some people believe that.
I think
Mervis,
Michael Bush has been objectively very good for them as a rookie at first base. Like defensively, above average.
Michael Bush has a 124 weighted runs created plus as of going into
strikes
yesterday.
out a lot, but all
His
rookies
strikeouts
strike
are the
out a
only
lot.
big problem that he has. We've, as you pointed out, Kevin, experiment at first base with him.
It's been
for
good.
the most part worked out. Has he had some
Been okay.
moments? Sure. But it hasn't been so bad that you were sitting here and you feel like you can't continue it.
Tell you what, he's made Christopher Morel look a lot better at third base. He's saved Christopher Morel's ass probably 6 or 7 times to start the year on digging out. And I like Michael Bush. Do I think that, that's a long-term question. Is he your first baseman in the playoffs? Right now, no, I don't think so. I think it's Bellinger. I think Bellinger will probably play there, and you're going to make a move for a third baseman at the deadline, Alex Bregman, and you're going to have PCA play center field. But again, that's a long-term question. Morel's got to be in there every day. I think Bush is good. He hasn't earned that full-time, everyday starting role, though.
I could see them getting to a point this season, though, where he gets less at-bats and somebody else gets more at-bats if he's not hitting consistently. Possibly, because I think at some point they'll look more at...
Well, you say if he's not hitting consistently. Well, he's got to get consistent at-bats and prove that he can be what he was.
I don't disagree. It's not going to be an easy decision.
Like I said, it goes back to roster construction and roster management. Like,
it's not his fault.
The Morel experiment at third base could have been solved last year, dude. They didn't do it at all last year. You could have just done it last year. And should I blame the front office or should I blame David Ross? I don't know, but like that's my frustration with it.
Why aren't they even trying it? It must have been so bad. Like, he's been working on this all offseason and it hasn't. You haven't seen enough progress there.
It keeps getting worse. That's the problem.
You know what's not getting worse?
I don't necessarily know if it's gotten worse, but I will say that, yeah, like last night's error was bad, but a few games ago he also had a few nice defensive plays too. It's just like it is a mixed bag, and whenever he does make an error, it feels like it gets compounded because this offense ain't scoring runs and the numbers for him aren't there, so people are just piling on him, and I get it in some ways. I'm just saying that, like, the reason that he has to play third is that way you can play these guys that they need to learn about, man. And we're not talking about PCA as like a question. Like, he's your number one overall prospect. Like, you got to play him. And as Kevin, you literally have been on our show the last 3 weeks bitching and complaining about PCA not being here and not playing. Yep. You want him to play every day? Yeah, you do. All right. Yep. Michael Bush, he's part of a major trade. You got to play him. It's just.
Who are you yelling at?
Everyone. I'm yelling at everyone.
PCA is going to play. They're going to play him. I don't. He's not the one who's going to lose playing time with what Luke was saying. PCA
By the way,
is playing.
Talkman leading off tonight for the Cubs. Hey, we got the big road trip coming up. Last night's event was a lot of fun. We met a lot of diehards and sickos out there. We met up at Murphy's before the game. We had a good time sitting with everybody. Sox fans and Cubs fans. A lot of good Sox fans were out there too.
Yeah, there were some nice guys.
And we had a good time. Alejandro was always fun, and we met Josh, and we met a lot of people out there.
There was I think the guy who brought his W flag, I think his name was Andrew. I want to say.
I saw you flying it after the game. Anyways, we had a good time. Now, keep an eye out. June 29th, we're not that far off. It's a road trip to Milwaukee, including a bus ride, a party bus, basically, going up to Milwaukee. Little tailgate action there, then it includes the ticket. It's a great deal right now. Go to allchgo.com. Get the ticket now.
$100.
Cubs Brewers, $100, and you go to the ballpark. You can take the bus or you can skip the bus if you want to, whatever. But we're all in, right? We're all going. We're gonna have a good time. Milwaukee could be a huge game at that point. No matter what happens in the next 2.5 weeks, it's going to be a big game anyways.
Yeah,
Cubs Brewers in Milwaukee, and
speaking of,
it should be a good time. Yeah. So make sure you get in on that right now. It's our next huge event that we're talking about.
The schedule for it, 9 a.m. We're picking people up at Almost Home, which is in Wrigley, diagonally right across the street from Obvious Shirts. But if you don't live in the city, you can meet us at Circus Sports in Waukegan,
right,
where we're making a pit stop to pick up our suburb friends. All right, so Gary, I know you live out there in the burbs. If it's easier for you to meet us in Waukegan, meet us there. And then, again, we'll get back on the bus. And the game's at like 3 o'clock that day, so we're going to be getting into Milwaukee at like noonish, meaning that there's like 2 hours of tailgating. I mean, it's going to be a fun time, yeah.
So that's going to be fun, and hopefully it's a big game, and hopefully the Cubs are playing well, and by then maybe they've trimmed a little bit off of the Brewers' lead, at least some.
Well, the Cubs have a chance to continue to trim tonight because the Brewers lost the Phillies today.
Thank you, Phillies.
Swept, right?
Yeah, they got swept by the Phillies,
nice.
And so that means they're 5.5 back in the division, which means it could be 5 by the end of the night if they win. So...
Niren, are you going? Niren says he's tired of losing to the Brewers. Fernando says he might join the crew. We already shouted out Gary.
Shout out Fernando.
DFW Susie, what's stopping you from getting on a plane?
I think she lives in Texas.
That's what I said. What's stopping you from getting on a plane?
Getting on a plane, okay.
And then on a bus.
Yeah. That's fair. I think in the Discord she said she was going to come for September when Rizzo comes back. I think she said that to me in the Discord one time.
That'll be a good game.
That'll be a good takeover. Looking forward to that one.
Might be a tough
Hopefully
series.
the games matter still in September.
Hey, real quick. So Taillon's tonight. What do you expect out of Taillon? I was surprised to see that the guy's ERA was 2.84. Because he's given up 3 runs in each of his last 3 starts, but he's also given up 6 hits, 9 hits, 6 hits. There's been plenty of contact against him. He's gotten out of sun. They haven't been horrible starts. One of them you could say is even a quality start, but I would listen. If Jameson Taillon's going to go back to, I think his May 4th start was the 6 scoreless innings that he pitched. Was it? Who was that against? Was it the Braves? May 4th? Early May, he had a 6-inning, no runs.
That was the Brewers series.
It might have been the Brewers.
May 4th was Brewers. Yeah.
So that was his last start that I can pinpoint and say, okay, that's the guy. We were saying that's the guy we need. And could he be that guy moving forward consistently, more so than Assad, more so than whoever? Well, tonight is a point. You've got a White Sox lineup. All you have to do is not pitch to Luis Robert.
I was just about to say
I don't know why
thing.
you would even throw the guy anything near the plate tonight. Literally, just give him the pass, go to first base unless the bases are loaded, and you pitch to anybody else on that team all night. Don't pick around the plate and try to get fancy. Don't walk 5 guys. Don't put extra guys on base other than Robert. And if he wants to get himself out or if he wants to reach out of the zone and then hits a home run, so be it. Don't let Luis Robert beat you. Other than that, pepper the plate with strikes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Taillon is so far he's having a nice bounce back season after last year. He's been everything they've paid him to be, which is a middle rotation arm. I'd say I think his last start against Milwaukee, 3 runs and 6 innings. It's not terrible, not bad. That's a quality start technically. So, yeah, I mean he's been pitching well and he's been eating innings, exactly what you need out of your starting rotation. Yeah, Kevin has it up right now. I mean, he has 2 starts where he hasn't gone a complete 5 innings, and both those starts he went 4 and 2/3. His worst starts probably against the Braves in Atlanta. The 4 he gave up 7. Well, it was 2 earned, but gave up 7 runs because of probably our bad defense. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean he's been great. So
he had 2 good games in a row, Mets and Brewers.
Yeah.
Really, really good starts in a row.
So, yeah, I the thing is we're going into these starts, man, and I'm not concerned about the pitching. I'm not.
You need to score runs against Fetty.
You need to score runs. You need to score runs, man. I haven't been concerned about the pitching since the end of April. The pitching has been awesome, like I predicted that it would be this year.
Tauchman, Suzuki, Bellinger, Morel, Happ, Horner, Bush, Swanson, Gomes. Who do we take for who you got? We got 1 minute left here. Who are our who you got picks?
I took Gomes because someone has to save the season.
Yeah.
Someone has to save the season.
Corey's trying to make sure Bush gets the playing time that I said maybe he won't. Yeah. Dansby, of course.
For Brendan. He's either Dansby or Nico.
I went Morel because he's a White Sox killer.
Yeah.
I'll take Tauchman. I didn't put it in the chat. The game hasn't started yet, so Tauchman it is.
Tauchman for you. And then Ryan took Bellinger. I like my pick.
You're right, though. Just don't pitch to Luis Robert.
Why would you throw him anything near the zone?
Corey Lee kind of getting there, too. Corey Lee's a pretty darn good hitter. The prospect that they got, the catcher. Those are really the only 2 guys you have circled in that lineup. Everybody else is like, okay,
and you're not
whatever.
pitching. You're not pitching against the Braves here.
Even though that Sosa guy hit a homer last night. Of course, his last name was Sosa.
I believe that was his first homer of the year, too, wasn't it? I want to say it was. I can't. Don't quote me on that. I'll look it up. But
I just saw Sosa on the scoreboard, and I was like, what? They brought Sammy back?
Tonight's hit parlay is Morel, Happ, and Tauchman.
Morel, Happ, and Tauchman.
Plus 150 wherever you make your bets.
Circa, yeah. That's where I collect my cash.
That was his only home
run.
Well,
you cashed last night.
Yeah.
So credit to you.
Trying to decide if I should take all that money off the board, just put it in my pocket.
Barb, we are live, and yes, we'll be on
Barb,
after the
where you
game.
been?
We weren't
We're
on
live.
yesterday because we were at our takeover event that you
live
have
after the
yet
game.
to
Full
come
hour.
to.
Full hour.
Come on, Barb. You got to come
Thanks,
to one of our
Barb.
events. All right.
Sarah is not producing. She's producing for the White Sox show, Barb. So she technically is producing, just not for us tonight.
Yeah. Anyway,
There's Herb.
please don't hurt me. That's all I ask.
Battling for Studio A. If we're in the other room, things didn't go
They
well.
better win that because it gets hot in Studio B.
does.
I don't want to do it.
Thanks for checking out the pregame show. We're back for at least a full hour after the game right here. Make sure you get in and join the YouTube chat. We appreciate it. We'll see you then. Check out our work on social while we're good. Cody's going to be tweeting out stuff all game long. Until then,
Credit to me.
until the celebration after the game, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.